like a whole series of
Oh, yeah, yeah, I guess. With the medical providers and like hospital cover implement practices or teaching things that for maternal mortality and morbidity.
All right. Well, we are going to get started. Welcome to night 4 of the Great Lakes Poetry Festival. My name is Marty Ackett, and I'm the adult programming coordinator here for Peterway Public Library, also one of the co-organizers of this year's Great Lakes Poetry Festival, along with Ronnie Ferguson, a great friend, and also my great friend Lynn Domina. So thank you to all the people, those two people especially, who helped organize this year's. Let's give them a hand. All right. So, as always, I have a few people to thank for what we do here at Great Lakes Poetry Festival and Peterway Public Library. One is the Friends of Peterway Public Library. For those of you that are watching in YouTube land right now, you can thank the Friends because they pay for the live streaming equipment, and also they pay for movie licenses. We watched a really great film last night, Patterson, and they are responsible for being able to show films and also provide popcorn at events like that. I also have to thank the Carol Paul Memorial Trust Fund. They give me all kinds of money for musical events, and we're going to have music tonight with our opening act for Jeff, Ronnie Ferguson. I have to thank Janine and Rick Rastel, who are one of the sponsors of the Poetry Festival this year as well. Thanks to them. Thanks to Northern Michigan University as well for their sponsorship as well. We do have Ronnie Ferguson, who is going to be reading prior to Jeff. We love doing this, pairing local poets with our headline poets and keynote poets. So let me tell you a little bit about Ronnie. Most of you probably know who he is. Ronnie is a wonder of art. He is a filmmaker. He is a poet. He is a promoter. He is a publisher. He's a musician. He does everything. And one of the greatest things that I can say about Ronnie Ferguson is he is a great friend and supporter of all poets and artists in the area. He does so much to promote everybody else's work, and I'm so happy to be able to promote him tonight as opposed to somebody else as well. So Ronnie is also the founder and publisher of the Harvard Square Press, which has put out, how many books have you put out this year, Ronnie? 7 books so far this year, which is just mind-blowing because it's not easy to put together a book and publish a book, especially with poets who are a little persnickety about things sometimes. Anyway, and Ronnie has put out 3 of his own books as well in that from Harvard Square Press, and he is going to be coming up here tonight. He's put out CDs as well. I've been very lucky, blessed to work with him on some musical collaborations as well. So please give a really big welcome to Ronnie Ferguson.
Thanks, Marty. All right. Get this on. She's not here tonight, but Beth Roberts really kind of inspired me this week, and it's a good ringtone. Beth Roberts, I've had the pleasure recently to hear her read a lot and talk about her books and her, I don't know, sometimes, you listen to so much poetry, but sometimes just like one voice really hits you hard at a time in your life for some reason. And for me lately, it's been Beth. And her poetry she wrote called On Natural Things, and she's been talking about a lot. And one of the things she said recently, she was talking about her process as a poet and as a writer, and she says, she doesn't start a new book or a new project unless there's some kind of a sense of discovery about what she's doing. She sets out to discover something. And I've been thinking about that a lot, and it's kind of kind of haunted me a little bit lately. Like I was planning to do something totally different tonight, and then her words kind of floored me as like I had a conversion. And the conversion was like, oh yeah, when you set out to discover something, it's like that's another way of saying like you're alive, And I haven't felt super alive lately, so I was like, I'm going to try to do something different tonight. So I'm going to read tonight, and I'm going to bookend it with 2 short songs. And when I read tonight, I'm just going to read one poem after another. And I know it's customary to snap or clap between the poems. I'd appreciate if you wouldn't feel like you need to do that at all, and we can just tune in. And there's 10 of them, and so we're calling it 10 Discoveries in a short book of feeling. That's what we're going to call it tonight. So here's the first feeling. I swear I didn't know what to do. I couldn't move. No one answered the phone when I called on you. Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? Where were you? And I will be okay. 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 If I can just get through another day. So these 10 kind of come sort of like dreams and like visions, and I don't mean to sound too esoteric when I talk or something, but anywho, so I'm just going to go one after another, and if you get lost in one, then just don't worry about it. The next one's coming. Just hop on the next seat in the train. I need my glasses. Whew. All right. The morning, Grandma stood topless in the living room. My friends and I had been up past 3 a.m., drinking and telling stories. At the end, we weren't making much sense and passed out in our sleeping bags. Must have been around 8 when she asked what we wanted for breakfast. Somebody giggled and said, "Holy Jesus," before we turned away and fell back asleep. Thinking she was on her childhood farm, she walked out back to gather eggs. Sound memory. Brothers and sisters, this week I'm going to the hospital in Ann Arbor. Please think of me when you pray. I can't remember anything from 8 years ago or before, except the music. I thank God this morning for the music of my life. He said, while his hands shook uncontrollably, and the choir booklet he held made a sound like wings heard all the way to the doors at the back of the sanctuary. You never know. The night the mayor jumped off the roof of the Main Street Hotel, maybe we were about to call our parents or spank one of our children and order some pizza to make up for it. Surely, some of us were saying our prayers, some of us balancing our checkbooks. If you believe the article in the paper, the mayor's wife, Melody, was singing in the shower when the police knocked on the door. Mr. Eat-All. He began eating non-nutritive materials as a teenager. Doctors determined he had a thick stomach, intestines that could handle sharp metal, unusually powerful digestive juices. However, bananas and eggs made him sick. At his performances, along with metal, he consumed glass, rubber, disassembled, cut-up bicycles, shopping carts, televisions, even a Cessna 150, which took him 2 years. Between 1959 and 1997, he ate nearly 9 tons of metal. In the Guinness Book of World Records, he holds the record for the strangest diet. To commemorate his abilities, he was awarded a brass plaque by the publisher, which he also ate. Middle school joke. There's no time to be lost on days like today. No heaven to be gained, only a strange thing. Non-consensual existence. A middle school joke, the one about the gym teacher with the wooden tit. It's all too much. Refresh me with a great thought, you beg your pastor, your parents, your playthings. I fear I've lost my feeling for humanity. In the silence that follows, you will discover doubt sagging in the center of the most faithful, as well as shards of hope on the littered beach that is your life. A question at midnight. Why can't anyone make you happy? Shouted a mother to her daughter. Tomorrow you're going to live with your grandmother in Florida. It was especially humid, or I would have shut the window. Instead, I turned over in bed, listened to the horrified reply, "No!" A firefight of words followed, and I forgot about sleeping, forgot my alarm set for 6 a.m., forgot my hopes, dreams, fantasies. But weeks later, I haven't forgotten that naked question. It has stalked me, has teeth, my teeth, teeth grinding in the afternoon. Why can't anyone make you happy? Because you're happy. Wombat poop is square. In Japan, you can buy square watermelons. One day you hope you'll wake up dead. The next you're sure you deserve a medal for something. Many things. But who cares? Because you're happy. Or are you? Is this you? The real you, stripping in a rainstorm? Or just the mania, howling at the moon, hidden like a scared child behind square clouds? The ghost of Jane Doe visits her hometown. She walked downtown, but nobody was scared because she didn't look like a ghost or sound like a ghost. She could have been any other traveler, 18 to 23, whose car had broken down. "Surprise!" Jane said at the gas station where she had worked the night she went missing. But nobody recognized her. "Don't you remember?" she said. But nobody remembered. Jane pressed her face against a window. On the other side, a little girl crafted a jelly bean mosaic, one squish at a time. "You go, girl," Jane wrote in her breath on the window. But the little girl didn't notice. Jane sat on a bench, opened a newspaper somebody left. The headline read, "High school girl and her mother accused of rigging the homecoming vote could face 16-year sentences." What a shame. What a shame, Jane said. The only one who heard her was an old woman walking by, an old woman named Bonnie, who was already hearing 3 other voices in her head. Like Jane, she had dreams of complete silence. Like Jane, she had forgotten the last time she felt alive. Like Jane, who'd been murdered by a friendly stranger, she cursed the seductive words of imaginary friends. Circling. In my dream last night, you were dying, you were dead, and you spoke to me. I circled you as you lay in the middle of the room. The others said you'd been barely breathing for weeks, almost like sleeping. I couldn't stop circling. It was as if the room was moving. The others said, "You died weeks ago," and I never thought to ask why. Why is she still here in the middle of the room? And why is everything circling? But your death pulled me closer. Somehow I found strength enough to slow down the room and sit beside you and look once more at your face now cracked and gray, and say, "Goodbye." And then I cried. So completely, I remembered all those times I'd cried alone as a boy. And I knew then what I'd always known. You'd always been dying, death, always circling. And now you were dead. And that's when, finally, you spoke. curfew confession. I came in at 6 a.m. and my mom asked, where the hell you been? She got close enough to smell for liquor, but I hadn't been drinking. I could have said I was scorekeeping at the Skunk Fest. I could have said I was praying by candlelight all night with my two best friends, because though the three of us are broken pieces from broken homes, we're still hoping our lives are toward covenant. I could have said, we'll always have a scapegoat with Adam and Eve, but I can't help taking death personally. I could have said, I was having sex for the first time, and it was just so good. The hours of pleasure started repeating. But really, it was a night of drugs, a car crash on a gravel road, the first close call I ever had. So instead, I told her all the truth that I could. I told her I was tired, so very tired, much too tired to talk, but I was happy, so very happy to be home. Where would you like to go today, my dear? Where would you like to go today, my love? And would you like to go with me? Would you like to go with me? Anywhere you wanna go, where do you wanna be? You're so beautiful, oh, you mean so much to me. I love the little person behind your eyes, the lovely little person behind your smile. The little person that I can't see. The little person that I can't see. I wonder how you got in there. You're so out of reach. You're so beautiful, oh, you mean so much to me. How many times I looked right through you. How many times I've looked right past you, oblivious to your needs. Oblivious to your needs. But those days are gone, my love, I'm trying to see. You're so beautiful, oh, you mean so much to me. Where would you like to go today, my dear? All right.
Yeah, Ronnie!
Thank you. you so much. I appreciate you listening and.
You gotta stay there.
Just one other thing I wanted to mention. So nice to have Jeff Kass in the house tonight from Ann Arbor. When my son and I moved up here back in 2019, Jeff's book, Teacher Pizza Guy, had just come out pretty close to when we moved up here, and it was the very first book I read and taught it in a class, and it's just a fantastic, beautiful book, and I'm really excited to hear from Jeff and his new book, True Believer, tonight. So thank you all for being here. If you're interested in, I have 3 books. They're called When I Was a Fire, A Good Fight is Hard to Find, and Divorce Comedy, and they're $10 or 3 for $25, which I guess is in Myers talk that's buy 2 get 1 half off. So and I also have some music back there and some hats. So summer's coming. So anyway, I'm not much of a salesman. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie. So good to hear you up on the stage and hear your voice. I'm gonna just go over a few other things. I want to thank Snowbound Books for being here tonight. Please support your local independent bookstores. So important. You know, I'm not even going to mention the A word in here. Don't do that. Okay, go to Snowbound and get your books. I just want to give a little bit more of an introduction. I met Jeff around the same time that Ronnie did. When Jeff came up here, his book was chosen for the 2 Books, 2 Communities, and he came up and read here at the library, and I was just blown away. Well, one of the things I was blown away by the most is that he had memorized his poems and was able to stand up there. Me, I would never do that. I need the crutch of the book. At least, I don't care how many times I've read the poems, I still need that crutch. But I immediately fell in love with that book, and I've used it many times in classrooms. And if there's one compliment that I can give to poetry and a poet, if you can get teenagers excited about poetry, that's really good poetry, and that's amazing. So let me just tell you a little bit about Jeff. He teaches 10th grade English and creative writing in Ann Arbor. You're still doing that, aren't you, Jeff? Yep, okay. I wasn't sure if you retired yet or not. Okay, and he is the award-winning author of Knuckleheads, which was 2011's Independent Publishers' Best Short Fiction Collection, and also 2 full-length collections of poetry, My Beautiful Hook-Nosed Beauty Queen Strutwave, and Teacher Pizza Guy, which was a 2020 Michigan Notable book. He's taught poetry classes and workshops to thousands of students and is a recipient of the prestigious 2023 Jack Hazard Fellowship for Writers who teach in public schools. And his newest book just came out in March of this year. It is available back there at the table from Snowbound. And I love this one from one of the blurbs. It says, "These poems are worth their weight in vibranium." So please welcome to the stage Jeff Kass.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much to Marty and to Lynn and everyone who set this up, and it's so exciting to be here. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Snowbound, as well. So please do buy a book and support the local independent bookstore because, we need those things to stay alive. This collection called True Believer, that's the term that Stan Lee, who was sort of the public face of Marvel Comics for about 50 years, used to call devoted readers of Marvel Comics. And so that's why it's called True Believer. My last book, Teacher/Pizza Guy, like Marty said, I don't want to say it's a depressing book, but my mother hates it. So it's a book about me being a full-time public school teacher, but because of just the way of the world, I also had to work delivering pizzas at night, and that was really hard. It was those kind of days where I think I'll read a poem from it later, but it was just a tough book. And so taking a page from the incredible poet and essayist Ross Gay, who wrote books like The Book of Delights and things like that, Catalog of Unabashed Gratitude, I wanted to write a book that was more joyful, that was not as full of like, wow, that's what it's like to be a teacher. So I thought about what really brings me joy. And when I was younger, that was about comic books. I didn't necessarily like set out to write a collection of poems about Marvel Comics, but after Stan Lee passed away a few years ago, I wrote this elegy for Stan Lee, and that kind of kicked things off. And then I built this collection around Marvel. So I don't know whether you know Marvel or not. I think hopefully you can relate to some of what I'm talking about. So I'll start with that poem. Elegy for Stan Lee. I think I always knew I'd never be a hero. Not at least the kind who scuttled up the sides of buildings or zinged an explosive-tipped arrow through the rib of a gas tank 2 miles distant. I'd never be able to transform into a flying blaze or conjure ice bridges with my fingertips. I never used my built-in radar sense to read the sound of a pistol's hammer click in a hurricane or to windmill an adamantium shield through the hate-filled heart of a hostile spaceship, then boomerang it back mid-backflip to my vice grip. But I had my own kingpins, my own Red Skulls, Dr. Dooms, and Doc Ocks. They looked like the kid twice my size who slung-shot a thumbtack 1/2 centimeter from my left eye. They looked like a yawning Friday night when nobody called to see if I wanted to go to the movies, like my inability to ice skate with any alacrity, like mountains of worksheets in chemistry, like the kid with the confectionery golf swing who swung up in a Toyota Celica and swooped up the girl I was too afraid to talk to. No, I never thought I'd be lucky enough to be bitten by a radioactive spider, zapped by a gamma ray, or to win the cosmic lottery and be born a mutant. Yet, I was born a mutant, wasn't I? Somewhere, nestled in my unique DNA, latent, like magma bubbling in the dark-lit realm of the mole man, does there not lurk a fiery force? Even if it couldn't help me launch a baseball over the fence, or elbow dunk above the gymnasium rim, or grow 6 inches taller, or earn an A in calculus, or somehow convince that girl I was someone worth flirting with. Still, there's something inside me, right? Think of it. A boy, 10 years old, like so many millions of others, horizontal on his bedroom carpet, elbows propped on the floor, chin braced in his hands, and spread out before him 4 gigantic block letters, slightly slanted, usually red, outlined in black, T-H-O-R. God of Thunder, mockingly called Goldilocks by the wise-cracking Hawkeye, spinning his mighty hammer through the cosmos so he can battle the Enchantress, the Executioner, Namor, or that other 4-lettered creature, the great green behemoth who can scoop up a city bus and throw it in a perfect spiral the length of a football field. What a riveting, heartbreaking, titanic hulk of a narrative tucked into 20 tactile and colorful newspaper print pages for that boy. Bored on a rainy February Sunday. That boy dreaming of greatness in the heavy heat of August. That boy learning the lifelong weight of failing to stop a thief who will later that very night murder the beloved uncle. Learning the shame of a man terrified even a blind woman can't love his rocky skin. Learning to live a code that says teamwork, keeping one's smack-talking cool in a crisis, and a never, never, never say-die spirit can defeat the rhino, the juggernaut, the toad, the lizard, the vulture, the blob, even that horrific magenta world swallower, Galactus. What power for that boy who wants to believe in essential goodness, wants to believe whatever lesson he plans for his sophomores will be epic. Whatever practice he plans for his son's baseball team will be monumental. Whatever sandwich he concocts can ward off the rankest evil. Whatever kiss he tenders his wife will unsnap Thanos' fingers and save the universe. That faith in his own potential is embedded in his brain, has clamored there half a century. It's clobbering time, y'all. Flame on. Thank you. And unlike, Ronnie's got all this confidence to just do like 20 minutes of poems straight. Yeah, I need the break so you can clap and snap and do all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Also, unlike Ronnie, I don't have a singing voice. Like, I kind of suck as a singer. But I love singing. So, driving up here from Ann Arbor, I was, rocking the 70s on 7 and singing all of my songs along and all that. So I love singing in my poems. I don't apologize for that. It's just, I'm just telling you it's going to be bad. I love reading the comic books, but I also love the movies because it kind of allows me to, rediscover these old stories in a new way and in a different genre, so that allows different things to happen. And one of the things that's great, of course, is you never have this on the page, but in the movie, there's music. This is called Ode to the Marriage Between Led Zeppelin and Thor. When you unleash that driving guitar, those pounding drums, that that sounds like a gas pedal on the last lap of the racetrack. That sounds like Nolan Ryan rearing back to throw his roaring fastball. That sounds like an avalanche about to cascade through a valley of villains we know. It's on. Doesn't matter if the bad guy's a titan from before the universe was born. Doesn't matter if he, she, it is constituted of pure dark matter, frozen frost giant, eternal elfin evil, or every cannon that's ever been fired in every war. Thor is about to do his God of Thunder thing, where his eyes blaze blue and his hammer swings like a scythe, and you, bad guy, ain't nothing but a sheaf of sugar cane about to be sliced, diced, and dissected. It come from the land of the ice and snow, from the midnight sun where the hot springs flow. Oh, don't we all wish we had that kind of theme song? That wedding of drums, guitar, and scream that pulls from our ribs the God hammer within. Oh, Thor. Oh, Zeppelin, you were born to fight as one. Would that we too can find our rhythm, our own dancing, daring, our own twanging, throbbing tango of fight and not flee, our own rumbling Roomba release the hand from around our necks. We are too wild for these chains. Thank you. I'll calm down a little bit, I promise. I dedicated this book to my parents. They're both in their mid-80s right now, and I'm really trying to convince them to come up here in late August because I'm doing a reading at the Mackinac Island Library, and I hopefully want to get them to come up here and we'll explore all around because I think it's just so beautiful up here. I'm dedicating this book to them because when I was a kid, 70s, it was kind of a controversial point of view to let your kid read comic books. There was all kind of controversy, and it was sort of like comic books at the time was like the internet brain rot of now. So they thought, people would say, oh, y'all, make sure that kid reads real books. They can't just read comic books. My parents are like, hey, he loves reading this stuff. He can read it. So I appreciate them for that. And so I have a poem for each of them in the book. I'm going to read the one from my dad, and then I'm going to read the one from my mom. This one's called True Believer. This is the title track, if you're a musician, for the book. And this is the one from my dad. True Believer. I was one who read the letters to the editor at the backs of comic books. Perhaps I simply wanted to savor more pages. Didn't want the too skimpy narrative to finish. If it did, after all, what was next? A trip to the backyard to rake leaves? a pile of problems, flipping fractions, or swimming through the viscous murk of long division? Did I believe everything I read? Truly, I did not. I did not think a witch clad in scarlet would ever marry a metal machine. Nor did I believe Wolverine would ever have a saber-toothed killer for a brother. Still, when Stan Lee dubbed me true believer, it meant I was part of a community my parents and teachers did not understand. I did not need to be reading The Red Badge of Courage or The Yearling. I did not need to be reading Johnny Tremaine or that book about ferns. I was part of a tribe who knew the difference between the two Human Torches, who understood the lizard is no grotesque hybrid reptile worthy of being reviled, but only a scientist, sadly misguided. Listen, when I grunted through 12 sets of 12 on the bench in my parents' basement, I wanted my triceps to burn and harden. There would come a moment, I was sure of it, when during a field trip, a bridge would collapse, or perhaps a wall of our school would crumble due to shelling from the Soviet Union, and the girl I had a crush on would be pinned beneath a block of cement, her demise imminent, and I would show up just in time, flex my new muscles, lift the deadly debris, and save her. Was it foolish, Mr. Lee, for me to believe myself a savior? Truly, it was. I have grown to accept I will never prevent the demolition of a bridge using solely the brick of my chest. But also, once on the highway, when I was maybe 13 and my father was driving, we passed an overturned station wagon. The driver's panicked face trapped upside down behind the steering wheel. Though we were on our way to a family vacation and time was already crunching, we were on the cusp of missing our ferry. My father did not hesitate. We have to stop, he told us. We have no choice. Was it foolish, Mr. Lee, for me to believe I was strong enough to help if needed? That if it came to unwedging that woman from the driver's seat, I could be part of a human jaws of life? Truly, it was not. I kept lifting weights long after that middle school crush exhausted its fuel. I believe a man without fear is a man who already knows what fear feels like and is willing to feel it again. I believe anger can sometimes make me stronger. I believe the difference between Captain America and the Red Skull runs deeper than geography. I believe there is right, there is just, and there is true. Truly, I believe that. I do. Thank you. So, this next poem, which is the one for like my mom, and I think that last one, you can see that it's not just that my parents let me read comic books, it's also the value system that they instilled in me that I think is like really part of my worldview and how I think about the world and life and the kind of person I want to be. And for my dad, it's like, listen, I don't care if we're late. That person needs help, right? And so this is one for my mom. And you know, I'm dating how old I am and everything, but this is called Marvel Comics Convention, Madison Square Garden, 1976. And this is more of like a narrative piece, so, you know, it tells a story. I can't believe I took 4 10-year-old boys by myself on a train to Manhattan, my mother says, decades later. My personal mission, requisition an original Daredevil number 47, Brother Take My Hand, the iconic issue where D.D. befriends Willie Lincoln, a soldier blinded by shrapnel in Vietnam. Lincoln ends up mixed up with gangsters back in Hell's Kitchen, and Daredevil pummels some on a stairwell. A melee memorialized on the issue's cover, where the man without fear swings upside down, one hand on the banister, his red boots smacking one thug in the face while another, already smacked, tumbles backward toward a third. In a life-threatening moment, Daredevil stretches his crimson gauntlet toward Lincoln to save him from falling, and DD, in his unmasked identity as Matt Murdock, extends a symbolic hand and how to believe in oneself when the world appears always in darkness. The brotherhood between the three, Murdoch, Lincoln, and DD, is a brotherhood of feeling with fingers to find a way forward, but also a brotherhood that reaches across race. To fifth grade me, it meant I too could find brothers beyond borders, and we could support each other on the ball field, in the wrestling room, in the cafeteria when Flirting, originally published in December 1968, the issue sold for 12 cents. But 8 years later, when we trooped cross town with my mother from Grand Central Station to Madison Square Garden, I knew it would cost at least $5 out of the 15 I had with me. Birthday money I clutched tightly inside my front pocket when we trafficked into the sacred edifice where Earl the Pearl scooped and hooped and Clyde Frazier fluttered and buttered. The floor buzzed like a giant wasp, loud and chaotic. 1,000 glistening tables and 10 times that many people. My mother struggled with surveillance as we Fantastic Four wide eyes scattered and dug for comics like moloids. It wasn't long before I rescued DD-47 in pretty good condition, swathed in plastic for $6.67. Most new issues were selling for $0.25, so I could likely snag a couple more vintage mags and still fill my bag with an abundance of Cap, Rawhide Kid, and Black Panther to read on the train back to the suburbs. Heck, I might even sequester $1 I could splurge on a lemon-flavored Italian ice at the refreshments booth. In truth, the journey, the adventure seemed a phenomenal success until I noticed the distress of one of my buddies when he fished into his pocket for his money and found a cosmic void worthy of a Captain Marvel voyage. Was his fistful of dough stolen, forgotten in a train seat cushion, or had he dropped it somewhere along the Avenue of the Americas? Nobody, not even one of the nearby adult dudes dressed as a SHIELD agent, could answer that question. And while the rest of us stuffed our bags with hero stories, my friend's tears flowed freely, having traveled all this way to New York City for a once-in-a-grade school experience. And now, with no power in his pocket, he, like Peter Parker when J. Jonah Jameson rejected his photos, would return home empty. But then, as if she'd heard the bellowing of a great bugle, and not unlike the arrival of no longer dusted heroes retrieved from limbo to square up against Thanos, except without any celestial assistance, my mother, with no cape mask or radar sense, reached her hand toward my friend, whom she hardly knew, grasped his fingers, and slipped him a 20 as if he'd shared her womb with me. And he filled his bag with stories of Spidey, Hulk, and the Banshee, and we trooped back across the city, not holding hands, but still clinging close, so my mother could watch over us as if we were brothers. Thank you. All right, 2 more poems, I think. I'm going to read one out of the Marvel world for a moment, and then I'm going to bring Ronnie up here, and we'll try and collaborate a little bit for the last one. All right, so Teacher/Pizza Guy, my last book, as I told you, was the year I was delivering pizzas. This book has in it maybe my favorite poem I've ever written. Like I said, there's poems from my parents in the new book, and people ask me, well, is there anything for your wife in the new book? And I'm like, but this is the one for my wife from the last book. It called The Manager Talks About Getting Engaged. And I used to have it memorized, but I can only have like 15 poems in my head at the same time. So, The Manager Talks About Getting Engaged. I think I'm ready, he says. What was it like for you? Did you do anything special? The story is, yes. It was in fact special. But not because of any particular planning or creative proposaling. It was spontaneous, and actually, I don't want to talk about it. Despite all my admonitions to students about vanquishing vagueness, it's not a story I'd like to share. It involves Santa Cruz, California, and sea lions and a tall, bearded man playing bagpipes in the midst of a mournful fog. And that's all I'm going to say. This story is for me and for Karen, and maybe one day for our children. I hold it tight to my chest, and I want to keep it like that, an heirloom. Except it's nearing 5 a.m. when he asks, and I'm mopping the floor, sort of. It's been a long, unnerving night, ice and snow and roads that want to bite. And he's counting money in the register and accomplishing other mysterious paperwork-related functions. I think I made about $105 in tips, add on the 54 cents per mile and the $5.25 an hour salary, and it's around $180 for 11 hours. Not horrible, but the floor sneers daunting and salty, and the water already swims swampy. So I'm swishing back and forth as quickly as I can, but the truth is, the world's not a whole lot cleaner. And my arms and upper back feel like I just survived 6 minutes of wrestling against a state champ. So I'm half tempted to tell the story just to cheer my own damn self up. Earlier, a university professor tipped $5 on a $97 bill. And he also declined to meet me at the door in the midst of the snowiest bluster, sent down a student clearly unprepared to schlep 7 pizzas, including one gluten-free, upstairs to the classroom, so I did it for him. An extra 10 minutes of my time while another customer's delivery camped in the car. And I don't know what kind of class it was, possibly marketing, something in the how to make money by lying to people genre. About 30 undergrads inhabited the classroom, each likely capable of chipping in a buck, though none offered. And I considered making a public announcement, exposing their instructor as a 6% tipper after he asked me a bunch of bullshit questions like, do I get sick of pizza? And does my car smell like pizza? And so much wanted me to say, listen up, students. This dude here who's grading your papers, or more likely foisting that job onto a graduate assistant who gets paid little more than expired lettuce, is trying to make nice with me. Act like he recognizes the complexity of my humanity, but he just tipped $5 on a $97 bill, and you do the math. That adds up to an asshole at the extreme tail of the bell curve. And I got 2 kids I'm not putting to bed right now, not helping with their homework, not standing next to in the washroom as they floss and brush their teeth, and I still got 9 hours to go on the shift, then I sleep 2 hours and snap my sorry ass awake from my son's hockey game. So if you learn one lesson this semester, how about it's every person who's ever served you anything, fed you, or cooked for you, or refilled your coffee, or refolded a sweater you left in a heap after fingering through the bargain wrap. Every damn one of them might have a magical story comprised of sea lions and bagpipes and mournful fog they hold close to their chests. But I don't say any of that, and I feel smaller for it. I want to be the fiery teacher I once was, unafraid of losing his job, unwilling to compromise a principled belief or stand in muted silence when an explosion's brewing in his throat and the manager's looking up from his register, his own shoulders looking like pumpkins 3 weeks after Halloween, deflated, nibbled apart by squirrels. And I push that mop harder, try now to make the floor Cinderella sparkle, for we who close the store at 5 a.m., must be our own fairy godmothers, our own Prince Charmings. There is no one else in this moment for us, no one thinking of us but us. And I polish that floor so it shines like a glass slipper, and the bark of sea lions lurches upward from hundreds of feet below the craggy cliffs, and it roars onto my tongues. Actually, I say, special doesn't begin to describe. It was in Santa Cruz, and we were on this bluff, and the wind had that kind of chill, like somebody pressing fingernails into the hollow of your back. So I gave her my sweatshirt. It was royal blue, with for some reason the number 88 sewn onto the front on a white patch. And we could hear some guy playing bagpipes, sending his screeching prayer into the mist. And down below on the beach, sea lions. Down below on the beach. And she looked at me, and we could hear. And she started nodding her head. And I said, what are you saying yes to? What are you saying yes to? But I already knew. Thank you. All right, so this is completely unpracticed. We're going to see how it goes. I have faith in like many musicians that they can like deal with me as a poet and just kind of make stuff happen. So we're gonna see if this works. I'm gonna be like Superman coming out of the phone booth now. It's my shirt, and I do have these for sale if anybody wants them. Come see me. I was talking earlier at dinner, and we were kind of lamenting the state of some things right now. And I was like, well, should I read the really political poem? And they're like, yeah, you should. So this is kind of like a call to arms. It's dedicated to my good friend Ben Cohen, who's like a choir teacher in Ann Arbor and runs something called the Ann Arbor Vocal Arts Choir. And I went to a concert last fall, and heard his choir perform this song called De Profundis. And I was like, whoa, I think I need to write something about that. And the book is like already in production. And I talked to the editor, and I was like, hey, I have one more poem. I think I really want to get in. She's like, really? There's like no more room. I'm like, yeah, I got one more. I think it's important. It needs to go in there. And she's like, all right. And it's like 8 pages. So, yeah. It's after the poets Ross Gay, Franny Choi, and Dinez Smith. It's called The Hour of Thanos. I think I need a little more water. And this will be it, because this poem kind of like destroys me. All right, you ready? The Hour of Thanos. De Profundis. De Profundis. Tick, tock, says the doomsday clock. Glaciers recede in shock. Terrorists flock like deadly hawks with paraglider claws. Child murder on both sides of the border. De Profundis, De Profundis. Tick, tock, bombs drop. More children shot at a bowling alley in Maine. In Ukraine, bombs drop. More children shot. In Texas, cut taxes and children with razor wires strung through the river. And the bullets don't stop. Buy an AK in the shop down the block. Tick-tock, says the cop with knee on neck. Tick-tock, says the mob scaling the Capitol facade. Tick-tock, pull the trigger on the Glock. Tick-tock, a 200-pound python slithers through the swamp. Tick-tock, the email says students must stop. Antisocial behavior will not be tolerated in this spot. The Speaker of the House will not tolerate people being gay or a woman having any say over how her body sways. De Profundis, De Profundis. The hour of Thanos approaches. Captain America unconscious, his cowl torn, brain concussed, vision skull shattered, Bruce Banner crunched, Scarlet Witch burned to a crisp, Black Panther, Black Widow, Spidey, Tony Stark, all eclipse the world engulfed in dark. Thor, Stormbreaker, flung afar. The hour of Thanos is upon us. Hospitals in ruins, emergency rooms buried in rubble. Misinformation spins inside the bubble. 10,000 sparrows smash into skyscraper windows and meet their ends. Do you send? Do you send? Ruth Bader Ginsburg dead. John Lewis dead. Elon Musk, brand name X, do you send? De Profundis, who is that in the hostage video? Who is that with the severed limb? Who is that left alone to fend in the lion's den? De Profundis, De Profundis. The hour of Thanos is upon us. What inside this skin can resist the knife from plunging in? De Profundis, De Profundis. Hurricanes, hurricanes gather, wildfires blaze, mudslides raise entire villages, cities, rivers overflow their poisonous banks, tsunamis swallow nations with landmines and tanks, reservoirs saturate with chemical rot. Tick-tock, another child shot, another murderous caught, traffic stop. Tick-tock, no, Thanos, no. I will not. How can I raise this fist? I am just one man. What inside my chest can resist this mess? De Profundo Thanos. I say thee nay. in the morn. And when I rise, Thanos, I don't give a bring a tear of joy to my eyes. Thanos, I am unhammered, and tell me every Thanos, I have only my 2 arms, this heart, these shoulders. What the frick is wrong with you anyway, you megalomaniacal, grotesque purple infant? Somebody use a tomato slicer to carve those grooves in your chin. You goofy op, grape ape looking festering bruise. Listen, you big frickin' goon. I am just one person, and you are infinite bullshit. But as long as I own this voice, as long as this ordinary mouth can utter, my God is a vengeful God, and he has drowned the world in flood, and he has soaked the sea in blood, and he has toppled the tower when our mouths spoke the same tongue. But in the beginning was the Word, the fluttering of this throat, and my God gave me this voice, this drum. My fist is an arrow, my marrow resolute. Thanos, I hope you got good health insurance. You best back the heck up. My voice redounds off the naves of a church. My voice erupts like magma spitting from the bowels of this earth. And I will sing against these bombs. And I will sing against these floods. And I will sing against these fires. And I will sing against these mobs. And I will sing against this darkness. I will sing against this darkness. And I don't know if I can knock your buster ass flat. But know this, you oversized, undersexed, sociopathic scourge. Win or lose, I'm going down singing. Thank you. That was great. Thank you. Do we want to do any kind of questions, Marty, or are we good? Do we want to do any kind of questions or anything? Or? Does anybody have questions? Anybody want to ask me anything, or just mess around and talk about superheroes? I don't know.
How do you memorize so well?
How do I memorize so well? People do lots of things in their lives, play video games or read. I read a lot of books too, but I don't know. Like these guys were talking about at dinner, like all these different series they watch on TV, and I don't watch any of them because I just kind of like walk around and say poems to myself all the time. So. I kind of look like a person who's a little bit unhinged, but that's actually who I am. So, yeah. Other questions?
Do you have a favorite superhero?
Yes, Daredevil. Then that's kind of like I talked about him a little bit. The Man Without Fear. I love him because he doesn't have like a whole bunch of like crazy superpowers. Like he could lift up this whole building, but he just never gives up and always keeps fighting. So that's what I like. Yeah. I think I'll never give up my love for the comic books because that's when I was a little kid. And I talked about just lying down on the bedroom carpet and spending hours reading them. So I don't think anything will ever challenge that, but I love the movies. I really do, because especially when they have the iconic images, when they show like Green Goblin flying across the sky with the like exhaust coming out of his glider, or they show Captain America with his shield and he like throws it at somebody, or Daredevil sitting by like a water tower on the top of New York City, or Spider-Man swinging through the city. Like all those images just bring back the power of those stories, and I love the movies. I really do. I see them all. I'm not like, oh, I don't like that. I mean, there were a couple. I didn't like Thor, God of Thunder. That was terrible. But, most of them I just love. Even when the critics hate them, I love them anyway. So, yeah. Yeah.
If you were working with a visual artist,
Yeah.
to create a new superhero for this moment, what would it be? And describe them.
Okay. I mean, I think this is almost impossible because there's like thousands of superheroes that have been created over the years. So to come up with something new? All right. So I would want a superhero that has the ability, whenever a demagogue is lying, they can like kind of shoot something into the air and the loud sound molecules like destroy what they're saying, or like put like a bright highlighter color on it that says that's a lie, don't believe it, and just be like the person who exposes the truth, I guess. So maybe I don't know what you'd call that person, like journalist man or something, or a journalist person. I don't know. But yeah, that's an interesting question. Nobody ever asked me that before. Yeah. Anyone else? All right, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Come buy books if you want. If you want to buy T-shirts, I'm up for that too. Thank you, Marty.
Just to give you, the festival's not over yet. We have a couple more days here. So tomorrow, Cindy is back there right now, but tomorrow we have a couple wonderful events. Cindy Hunter Morgan is going to be leading a poetry workshop at 10 a.m. upstairs. I believe it's in the Heritage Room. I have to double check on that. It's either the Heritage Room or the Shirus Room. They're right across from each other. So if nobody's in the Shirus Room, come to the Heritage Room. And that is a registered event, but if you show up, you'll probably get in. And then that's from 10 to 12. At 12:30, come down here to the community room. There'll be popcorn and there'll be movies because Cindy curates this festival, Filmetry, and we're going to be showing some selections over the years from some of those films. And you might see a couple faces or poems that you might recognize. And then on Saturday, we have our Teen Poetry Contest Awards Ceremony that starts at 11 o'clock here in the community room. So that's 11 to 12. And then from 1 to 3 or so, we have the winners of the 3-day International Chapbook Competition who are going to be reading from their chapbooks. And then if that's not enough for you, Sunday night, we're going to have a little afterglow at Rippling River Resort from 5 to 8. Nothing really huge. We're going to have poets there. We're going to have Troy Graham doing music, and there's pizza and beer. So if that's, and I think that's a perfect, sounds like a perfect evening, doesn't it? Yeah. So thank you again, Jeff. Let's give him another hand. Amazing. Yes. And do stop by and get a book from Jeff. Have him sign it for you. Get a T-shirt from Jeff. Buy some stuff from Ronnie. You know, poets need to eat too. So let's do it for them, okay? Thank you so much.